Okay. All right. So again, I think in our desire, do I have sound on? You guys hearing me okay? In my desire to just dump as much of my experience on you guys as possible in this 2-day setting, what we're going to talk about next, before we wake up our friends in the States, is building your online business. I've said earlier that I've been very, very fortunate in this space, in that I think I learned early on that the key to building these businesses was your ability to generate leads and sales. And so I owe, to a large degree, I credit the media buying I've done to create great companies. In '99, I helped start a company called MetaReward, which is one of the early affiliate networks. That was sold for $30 million. Now, the bitter truth, and I'll tell this to you as honestly as I can say it in these slides, is be careful who you take money from. Venture capitalists are adept at removing you from your money. So that was in part what happened with MetaReward. Then went on to go found a company called Connexus. We raised $20 million in venture capital. We got a bit smarter the second time because we took 10 out for ourselves, which was quite nice. We built that into over $100 million a year. It's since merged and done some things. I bought several companies in between that time. Started a company called AdX, which was a public company that went on to do some good things. We raised $8 million from angel investors, and in that process, we did 5 acquisitions. So we bought 5 companies. So I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been that person that has started with nothing and built great companies. I've been buying companies. So if my hope is today that I can teach you a couple of things that if you do in your business, once you get them building up, there's a few key things that if you do will make your company infinitely more valuable to somebody up the food chain. So we're going to talk about building your online business with as much time as I possibly can. I've given you my highlights a bit. I won't bore you necessarily as much, but I've considered myself a startup guy for 12 years. I've been building businesses since I was a kid with my first lemonade stand. I had carnivals in my backyard. I did all kinds of crazy stuff. I've been doing this type of thing for many years. I've bought a lot of media, as I've kind of bored you guys with. I've had the good fortune of hiring and training hundreds of people in the space. I'm very active in the community, and I run Media Mentors. Now, I think, so what's great about you guys being here today is I think you get the advantages of starting an internet-based businesses. When I say it's the absolute perfect time to start, it's kind of counterintuitive, right? I mean, in the States and perhaps here, we're in the worst recession that we've remembered since almost the Great Depression, right? I mean, if you read, this is why I don't read papers, I don't watch television, but so I've heard there's a recession going on, and what it is, it ends up being an amazing time to start businesses for a variety of reasons. If you think about the media side, buying media, a lot of the brand advertisers have pulled out. So if you have this media being created at a high volume, and you have less advertisers coming into the space because they're letting people go, they're firing people, they're buying less. It's the same type of environment that existed for me back in 1999, 2000, because I grew up in Silicon Valley. I saw the first wave of internet companies absolutely get crushed. So I saw this massive wealth creation happen in Silicon Valley, and then around 99, 2000, everything came crashing down. And that's when we started MetaReward, because we found that there was amazing amounts of media to buy for dirt cheap. So that's the one aspect of why it's a great time to start a business. The second part of it is a lot of people on the sidelines, really talented, incredibly bright people, far smarter than me, that are out there that you can hire, either on a consulting basis or an hourly basis, that will do amazing things for your business. So it turns out there's a lot of highly talented people out there that are available to hire. So for those 2 reasons alone, I think it's an amazing time to start an internet business. You're much, much more likely to succeed in internet business for a couple of reasons. You tend not to have a storefront. You don't have a lot of employees. You don't have inventory. There's a whole lot of reasons. I mean, I've just been surrounded with people with laptops that have businesses that can go anywhere in the world. It's super easy to scale, as I've told you. If you can find winning campaigns, and again, I'm going to take it out of the media buying realm and talk about really any internet business. So if you're a product owner, If you have an idea, it's really easy to scale these ideas because, again, your market is the world. Like, when I talk about buying media in the Scandinavian countries, those are my customers. I'm not limited to people in the San Francisco Bay Area. I can buy media anywhere in the world. I can attract customers in the world. I can go over to China. I can do all these things. So it's amazing how much easier you can scale using internet businesses. The next point is a rising tide raises all boats. Again, I love being like at the feet of these giants as they battle it out. I'm just enamored with Google and Facebook and Apple and Yahoo and AOL and Twitter and Dig, and like these guys are all just battling it out. And what ends up happening in those situations is companies get bought for ridiculous amounts of money. Okay, ridiculous amounts of money, because each of these guys have their own reasons to buy companies, and they may overpay for a company considerably because they're all just desperate to be that last man standing. Facebook versus Google is the latest, but Apple's in there. I never in my life thought that Apple would be worth more than Microsoft. I was convinced it would never happen. But now you have Apple, which is this amazing brand, which has the iPad, the iPhone. They're building a proprietary ad serving system. It's just, so I love, I just grab some popcorn, just watch the movie happen right in front of me. And it's great drama. You have egos, and it's awesome. But for the entrepreneur, you can build businesses that are sold for way more than they should be sold for, because there's such an amazing amount of energy in this space. And then you'll have more fun. I don't know how else to say this. You just meet weird people along the way. And I like that, I got my first job in the Bay Area in '96, and I remember my first day in the job, my new customer was Wired magazine. You guys remember Wired magazine? Yeah, okay. So they were up in San Francisco, and I was kind of like showing up there, and I was more of a classically trained sales guy. I went through all the courses and had everything dialed in, and I was wearing my tie, to walk in there and cruising, and there's these dudes with like, tie-dyes and like tight shorts. That's a little weird, but like, and they're just hairs all over the place. They're all messed up, and the guy took one look at me and said, he handed me some scissors, okay, and said, either you can do it or I'll do it. And then he pointed to a wall, and the wall was about hundreds of ties that were just like stamped up. So I said, wow, welcome to the internet. So, I don't know, I think differently. I'm a middle child, right? Like maybe I'm weird because I'm a middle child. I don't know what it is, but I've always gravitated toward weird, smart people. And, in this space, I can't tell you the number of Rhodes Scholars, the number of insanely bright people. One of my biggest customers was a PhD student. He studied in Stanford. He studied how viruses exist in human nature, and he applied that technology to how viral campaigns happen online. So that's just one example of just hundreds of people, thousands of people I've met along the way that are just different. Like they dress weird, they are weird, they're half my age. In Shaq's case, he's turning 15 today, so I want to everybody wish Shaq a happy 15th birthday. But I learned early on that age didn't matter, what you look like didn't matter, race didn't matter, nothing mattered. I'll tell you one more quick story. When I built MetaReward, one of my biggest affiliates was a guy that I was sending a check to $60K a month for, and this is back in 2000. And I think at some point my accounting group messed up his address, so I had to call to get his address. A nice lady answered, "Hi, I'm Scott Ruick. I'm VP of Business Development from this company, and who's calling?" And it was weird. I thought it was his secretary. It was his mother. Okay, and he was 15 years old. 15. I kid you not. And I was sending checks to $60K a month. So at that point, I realized I should just lose whatever was taught to me about what people are supposed to be, like guys in suits, like respect, like age. I just threw all that away, and I became a much more open person about how people are making money online. And I've seen every race, I've seen every age, I've seen every background. So I have more fun because I like weird people. It makes my life more interesting, you know what I mean? Boring people suck. So what you all should know, and I think we've tried to explain that to you here today, is starting a business is very easy, succeeding is hard. Okay, and this is not glamorous work, I hate to say it. When we started NetBlue, it was two guys at a desk it was an IKEA desk, it was a cheap desk, and really you have nothing. And it's not glamorous work. And we didn't have, trash service. I was taking out the trash. So you have to kind of be willing to embrace that lifestyle. A lot of people say they love startups, okay? I mean, I get it all the time, having interviewed probably 1,000 people. I mean, startups are great, Silicon Valley. But then oftentimes you throw them into the mix where there isn't a plan. Like the business you start all of a sudden changes over here, and they just can't take it. Like, where's the training manual? Like, there is no training manual. Like, that kind of stuff, I think, throws some people. So you have to be willing to kind of embrace that and know that oftentimes it's not glamorous work. And truly, like, there are times in our businesses that we thought we for sure were going to fail. All the indications where we were losing money, and really all you have is hope. And then just all of a sudden out of the blue, some angel appears over here and they just grant you this wish, and all of a sudden you're now doing something else and you keep going. So I can't tell you enough that business building is tough, but sometimes hope is all you have. I'm so sorry if you guys can't even read this, right? But you'll get this on DVD and you'll be able to look at this stuff. But there's a lot of parallels. I think if you're good at media buying, you by nature become almost good business builders. There are some fundamentals to buying businesses and building businesses. They're eerily similar to buying media. Some of the techniques still exist. I mean, they're just fundamental stuff that, again, I think there's an army of gurus that teach you all this crazy stuff. I'm kind of more old school. I like fundamentals first, techniques second. I try to always over deliver. If I give you my email address, it's because I mean it. I really do love this stuff. You got to stop planning and start doing. You got to actually do something to make money. They focus on making their dollar. There's a million reasons why you shouldn't start a business because it's risky and all that stuff, but they focus on making their first buck. They're willing to learn on the job. I describe business building in the internet space as like a car going uphill and you're moving along and you're changing the oil while the car's going. You don't have time to slow down because this business changes so quickly. They go where the money is. There's a lot of money right now being floated around by these giants. They figure out rich markets and they attack the rich markets first. You don't want customers that have no money. It does suck. They run lean. They're cheap. We're cheap. We're super cheap people because I'm so deathly afraid of failing in my businesses that I run these things super lean. And so, I probably have holes in my shoes. Like, I'm just deathly afraid. So I run these things as lean as I can. I outsource when I can. I don't pay people a lot when I start these businesses. I pay them a lot when I get going. But usually it's like, look, we're going to do this together. We're not going to make some money, but we're going to start off and we're going to run lean. And then finally, you measure everything. If you can measure things, just like media buying, it tends to be a good thing. So usually, you have two decisions to make, right, in these things. There's what I call lifestyle businesses, and there are big company businesses. And so, and it's okay to change, right? It's okay, but know that they're very, very different businesses, okay? So lifestyle businesses tend to be very lightweight. They're key man dependent, but they're notoriously difficult to sell. And there are obviously great reasons to have lifestyle businesses. You want to be that guy that is anywhere in the world, you're in Tahiti, you're making money, it's all good. And there's a lot of money to be made doing that, no doubt about it. There's a lot of guys that have big businesses that want to go that way because they're tired of the board of directors, they're tired of the VCs, they're tired of flights in New York. So they want to be lifestyle businesses, which is an amazing business to have. But remember, it's you. So if you stop working, you have nothing, right? So it's all key man dependent. Now, conversely, big businesses are much, much different. It's a long process, it's much complex, but it's much, much easier to sell, okay? And that's what you want to do, is you want to get to a point where somebody values your company way, way more than it's worth. And there are things to do to build those big businesses. So, I think we're all going somewhere. I've built bigger businesses. I want to have a lightweight footprint. I have guys that are running very successful lifestyle businesses that want to figure out how do you get to 100 million bucks. And I'm like, look, it's not better over there, right? Like, you have issues that you may not like. You have 120 employees and this person's sick and the board of directors are angry. So, be careful what you ask for, but just know going in, you should probably pick one or the other. They each have their benefits, they each have their downsides as well. Okay? All right, we're going to go through this business building roadmap. I won't be able to do it as much justice as I'd like, but I'm going to try to get through it as much of this as I can. But I mean, similar to the 9 slides that I gave on media buying, I think building your business has very similar characteristics. It obviously starts with you. You have this idea, right, for some great business, or you want to copy a business in the affiliate space, so you have somebody else's idea. You do some research, you figure out, is it a good market? Are people buying handbags in Brazil? You know, what is, you do your basic due diligence. You figure out the structure that's ideal for your idea. You got to have money, all right? You got to have funding. So either you get it from your mom or your brother or your uncle or the bank or a VC or an angel investor. You self-fund it. You test it, right? You figure out if this is a good idea. And at this point, you should be willing to change your idea if the market doesn't demand that. Then you get going and you run like crazy. You scale it. And there's some elements I'll teach you how to scale your business. And then hopefully you sell it for a ton of money. And that's the idea. Finally, I'll end with some 5 things that you ought to do if you're creating big businesses that you should avoid. Okay, so it obviously starts with you, right? And we're going to kind of jam through this. But you got to figure out kind of what you're good at and what you're not good at, and have an honest assessment about these things, okay? You can't kind of be everything to everybody. So, you know, I was at a conference last week where Mark Victor Hansen, who's this chicken soup for the soul guy, was talking about the different types of people. There's visionaries. There are people that like sit underneath the visionaries and get stuff done. And there are people under that figure out all the legwork. So there's different elements. So you got to figure out where you are in terms of like your mindset. Are you really willing to do this? This is not glamorous work. What are you good at? And figure out your own head first, okay? Second business is idea. Now I hate to say it, but ideas are worth nada, like zip, zilch, nothing. Like ideas are horrible because it's only ideas that are acted upon that matter. So I can't tell you, I mean, living in the Bay Area, this is what we do, right? We don't go watch football or Arsenal, or we sit around coffee shops and we talk about ideas. Like, wouldn't it be great if we could create a company that did like Miss Internet? Yeah, that's a good idea, because we could, I mean, this is all we do. We talk about these, you know, what about this? What about this? And, you know, it's all idle chatter. It's all basically, you know, coffee talk. What really matters is ideas that are applied and acted upon. So just know that don't fall in love with your idea. If you have the next idea that's going to take down Google, God bless you. Like, that's awesome. You're the man. But again, don't fall in love with it, because it's not worth anything. It's worth zero. So, but ideas that have some, you know, some push behind it, that are applied, they're acted upon, those are ideas that end up being worth a lot of money. So that's my saying there. All right, so when you have an idea, right, and I've had a lot of ideas down the road, you figure out, you do some basic research, right? You figure out who's already doing it. You figure out how they're doing it and see if you can deconstruct what they're doing or reconstruct what they're doing. And then you got to figure out how you're improving something. Are you improving anything in the idea? Is it just a complete copycat idea, which are great businesses also? But are you doing something that's different? What's your angle? What's your niche? And so you got to figure this stuff out before you really think about building businesses, or else you're not likely to succeed. You got to figure out the structure, right? So now you figure out yourself. You have this killer idea that you think is great. You figure it's a great market. People have money in the market. It's unique. You have a unique element to it. You got to figure out the structure of it, right? I mean, is it a sole proprietor? I'm not sure the legal laws in the UK, but in the States, you can be a sole proprietor, you can be an LLC, you can be a corporation. You got to figure that stuff out and basically set that stuff up. And that's really important down the road if you want to sell your business for a lot of money. There's actually things you should do to start the business that'll make it a lot easier for you to sell the business down the road. So again, this is one of those questions: what kind of business are you building? If you're building a lightweight business where you're an affiliate, you may not care about corporate structure so much. You just want to make money. You know what I mean? You can put it in my name, so it's not a big deal. Funding, all right, you got to get cash. The reason that most businesses, well, there's a lot of reasons why businesses fail, but one of the biggest ones is lack of funding. So you got to have money to do this stuff. Now, you don't need a lot. I've started a lot of these businesses for not a lot of money, but you got to have some money. So you got to figure out where you get it from. And I'll tell you that each of these places have a cost, right? I've raised money with my own money. I've raised money with venture capitalists. I've raised money with angel investors, and each has their downside. And I've borrowed money, which is great too. So you got to think about, you know, kind of like why you're doing it, and figure out how much you need and figure out how you're going to structure that money. But most businesses fail because they're just improperly funded. Okay. Then you test. It's again quite simple. You get some data. You test your idea. So you have this new idea for a I don't know, a new pen or something like that, you know, and you test it on Facebook, you test it on AdBlade, you figure out if there's a big pen market, and you basically get some data, right? You talk to potential customers. You got to like get this stuff going. You can't. Far too many people sit in planning mode and like what I call analysis paralysis. And you know, again, it's like an idea. It's worth nothing. It's worth zero. So sorry about that. You got to get some data. You got to test your product. Again, it's very straightforward. You get some data, you record the information, and you start to iterate. And this is where you got to be willing to make sure to know that the business you start with won't be the business you end up with. And here's an example. When we started NetBlue, well, actually both companies. So the first company was MetaReward, but what most people didn't know about MetaReward, we started as a search engine, okay, that paid people. So at that point it was GoTo.com, which is the predecessor to Overture, which was Yahoo Search. But we saw that happening, so we said, we'll do a search engine, and then we'll pay people to search. It's genius, man. Like, wow, I can make money in search online. And it turns out the advertisers hated it, obviously, because they got crappy leads and stuff. But we were able to then realize that quickly and iterate the business into an affiliate network. Same thing with NetBlue. With NetBlue, we started off the company as Your Free DVDs, okay? Right? It's like stupid, right? It was Your Free DVDs. We were giving away Spider-Man DVDs if you completed a credit card offer. So we were saying, look, do you want a free Spider-Man DVD, which was huge at the time? People were like, yes, I want a free Spider-Man DVD. And so we said, we'll give you one if you register with a credit card, or you sign up for Netflix or Columbia House. And so we were the predecessors of doing that type of business. Now, again, the problem with that business is that people hate free. I mean, they hate incentivized marketing. So we morphed that into a lead generation business. We at some points were like 20% of Netflix's new customer acquisition. So we were driving massive amount of volume. So we created the tagline, we deliver customers, okay? So we were able to change those businesses. So just be flexible. Don't be in love with your idea, and be willing to change as the market changes, okay? You got to start. Hopefully by now you're making some money. You've tested, you're iterating, you're changing. But this is the part that really is hard, and it needs to be a passion of yours for 12 hours straight or more. You know, in this example, I had a 3-month-old little girl. Okay, I had a lot of, maybe this goes back to the you piece of it, but I had so much desire to succeed, there was nothing that's going to stop me from putting food in her mouth, okay? So this is a point where you have to beg, borrow, steal. You have to literally will the business to win, okay? And again, if you have enough why, there's really nothing you can't achieve in this area. But again, you're going now at this point and you're cranking along. Now, here's the difference between lifestyle businesses and big businesses that you can sell for tons of money, is how do you scale the business past yourself? Now, lifestyle business by definition is you, okay? It's you building a business. You're the man, you're in charge, you own everything, you're running the show, you're making tons of money, that's you. To build a real big business, to build a business that's doing $8 million a month or $10 million a month, you've got to figure out a way to scale. And so scale means you need to hire people around you, hiring A players around you. You can't do that, you don't have any business being a big business. You've got to lose the key man dependency piece of it. If you can't figure out ways to replace yourself as fast as possible, you won't be successful in building businesses. Also, you have to build systems that scale. When we started NetBlue, I was doing all the media buying, okay? I was doing everything from banner creation to talking to Microsoft, to uploading banners, to creating landing pages. At some point, I have to get myself out of that job and be able to teach people how to do that. So you have to build systems that allow you to get out of that job. You need to fire yourself from that job and hire people that are probably way better at you, because you can't do everything, right? Turns out I suck at creative, I'm a horrible tech guy, but I can talk to people. So it turns out I can hire people that are much better than me. So if you can scale past yourself, you might have the chance to be a big business. And finally, again, I'm simplifying this quite a bit because a lot goes into all this stuff, but at some point, right, you may get tired of the business, or you may want to sell it, or somebody approaches you. We were approached by venture capitalists, we didn't approach them, to invest in our business. And so you got to make the determination whether you should take investors on, whether you should keep going or sell the business. Now the goal for you then is to sell the business for as much possible money as you can. So you want to look at the offer, right? Some offers come in terms of cash, stock, earn out, all kinds of things, but that's the goal. And if you're anything like me, I have got perpetual ADD. You can rinse and repeat this stuff. Once you know the system for creating businesses, either businesses or media buying, you can recreate it because you already know the recipe. You know how to do it, you know how to fund it, you know how to build it in such a way that you can sell it. So that's the idea. Okay, what I'll talk about now, we'll give these guys a couple more minutes to wake up from waking up. But here's the top 5 mistakes that people do when they try to build big businesses. And we bought 5 companies last year, between last year and the year before, and it's the same thing over and over again. They start at this huge price, right? And I know, because I've done this repeatedly, how I can whack the price down, all right? It's very simple. If you're key man dependent and key woman dependent, and I know it and you know it, like, cut the price in half. Because as a buyer, right, I'm saying, now if this guy gets hit by a bus, or if I give him a bunch of cash, now he wants to party in Brazil all day long, the business is worth 0. Like, it's so you have to figure out a way to make you not part of the equation. So you've got to build your businesses in such a way that you're just like an employee working there. You might own all of it, but you're not responsible for it. Because if you don't do that, I guarantee your business is worth at least half of what you think it's worth. Second thing, and this is again, people start at $1 million and I buy companies for like 50 grand, okay? Because the same stuff goes over and over. So if you can avoid this stuff by building this stuff in, if you're interested but you should do this even as a lifestyle business, but it's more important if you want to build it and sell it. But you can't have a concentration of customers or a lack of forecasting. I, as a business guy, will buy businesses that I can forecast out a series of cash flows over time. If you're telling me that your business has one source of distribution, like I buy on Google, and one customer, ClickBank, like, dude, cut it in half again, easy. Like, cut it in like 3/4, because I know that you lose one of those things of points of distribution, or you lose one customer, like, I have a worthless asset now. So I'll cut it in half again. No solid bookkeeping or no audited financials. That's another big one. We buy these businesses and some guy would give me like some receipts or something and say, I do like $50K a month and this is like my stuff, right? How do I know that? You could be like taking that and spending it. Like, you have to take some time so that when you sell businesses, you have everything in order. These are audited financials that show not only what I've done, but what I will do down the road, okay? So every investor is going to want to see not only your historicals, but what you think this business is going to do, and that's the forecasting piece of it. This is a big one, no technology, okay? Now, whether or not the technology is complete BS or not, doesn't matter, okay? What this means, though, is that you've got to have a story. You've got to have something that's unique to a buyer, and technology is one aspect of it. So, we built all these systems that we named them pretty names, but they were basic stuff. The guys that we were buying, they had no technology. They had nothing special about their business that couldn't be replicated very, very quickly. So if you can give the perception, or it actually is real, that what you've built here is an asset that can't be replicated quickly, I guarantee you'll double the price of your company. So think about building. Even if you have no technology, name it something. Name it the Shaq Fu Diesel money machine, right? And it's this black box that just spits out money. They just bring you like wheelbarrows full of money every day, gold bars. Like, that has an element of it that someone's saying, I can't replicate that very, very easily. So that's the idea. And then finally, what gets in the way of businesses being sold is like your ego. And I think I learned this lesson very well because in the Bay Area in the 90s, like, in the States, we like to invent problems, right? Like we make up stuff to feel bad about. But there's like this thing called instant wealth syndrome, right? I saw all this massive amount of wealth being created during the first dot-com wave, and all of a sudden it was all wiped out, okay? Guys had hundreds of millions of bucks in stock. All of a sudden it was worth 0. So it just really messed them up. And I saw that. And in the next wave, which I was a part of, I would see people that would overvalue their companies. I mean, there was a company called Adteractive, which was an affiliate network that was built just like ours, okay? And we were the losers because we sold for 30 million bucks. Okay, I'm sorry, I suck. And they were getting offers for $300 million, okay? This is like a year later. So it really began to build the fuel about these CPA networks. And honestly, when they peeled them back, they realized they had no technology. It was a bunch of 19-year-old kids doing all of it. Their advertisers were shady, and so it was worth a lot. Now it's worth a lot less. But I mean, they have these offers for $300 million, okay? I mean, what could you do with that kind of money? And the answer was, no. No, I need it to be 500 million bucks. That's what it's worth. And I'd be like, are you, you crazy? Like you have these offers, so like the best piece of advice I ever got in this world, and it's a very, you guys remember Lycos? Yeah, Lycos, okay, Lycos, man, those guys were awesome. But I remember eating food, and we were talking about selling businesses, and someone said, look, if somebody serves you food, like you can look at it a little bit, then you just eat it, right? You eat it, right? If it's not rotten or gross, you just eat the food. Like if somebody gives you a good offer, you take it because you never know what's going to happen down the road. So, another company in our space called Web Clients sold to ValueClick for 130 million bucks. Okay, 130 million bucks. My friend Josh built it. Very, very rich dude. And they were the laughing stock because they only sold for 130 million bucks. Okay, fast forward 2 years later, companies aren't worth that much anymore. And the guys that were trying to sell their companies for 300 million bucks can't get anything for them because people. So just know that if a good offer comes around, take it. Right? I'll take cash any day before the promise. So I think that's the big businesses. That's the idea there. Don't let yourself get in the way. Don't let your ego get in the way. If you can make some money, just make it. Finally, I think I've told you, lifestyle businesses don't get sold, but companies do. I think this is a recap of my mistakes. If you are the business or the business hasn't scaled, that's problem number one. Problem number two is if you have a concentration of customers or a lack of forecasting, if you're key customer dependent, if you have very limited growth projections. Big businesses are based on this hockey stick growth. So if your business grows like 5% per year, you won't get a lot for it. But in our case, we were growing, we were doubling every month. And that's a pretty big business that people are excited about. Or inability to defend projections. People would tell me, well, in 2011, I'm going to do this. Really? How's that going to happen? And they couldn't tell me how many customers it took, how much they couldn't defend their projections. So you got to be able to do that. We talked about no solid bookkeeping. Sloppy accounting just means you ratchet the price down. No technology, nothing defensible. You don't sell for very much. Systems that don't scale. In other words, if you've built something but it can't scale and you can't defend your projections, they tend not to sell for too much. So finally, I'll leave you with this. There are some fundamentals in what you guys do, and it relates to, like, we talked about being an affiliate, an offer-based affiliate or a distribution-based, but figure out your niche. Okay, what is it you like about what you're doing? Just try to stick with something that you like that makes money. You've got to be excited about it. We've built a lot of businesses that we weren't too enamored with. Adware businesses, big email spamming businesses, that at the end of the day, with your time on this planet, you just don't love it too much. It makes money, but you're just not going to be that good at it because you're going to hate it. I've gotten fired along the way, so be willing to keep moving in this space. If you stay around long enough, you might get fired. We were fired by a company that we started, NetBlue, by the VCs, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And then finally, I'll just say business is personal, but just don't take it personally. I can't tell you that the business is very personal. People that tell me the business isn't personal are lying. We're all about making connections. We like people. We don't like people. The people that we don't like, that we don't do business with, they're all assholes. The people that we work with, like, they're my best friend. So it's very personal. Business is very personal. I've always maintained that. And I'll keep saying that. So anyway, that's my presentation for business building. Are there any questions about this stuff before we get into my calls with our friends here? Yes, sir. Want to wait for the mic here? Or?
Your businesses that you've sold for huge money, who's placed the value on it, and why did they place that value on it?
So it's a combination of many things, right? It's a combination of what's happening in the space. When we sold MetaReward, affiliate marketing was a very hot concept, so it was very much hyped. You look at the businesses that are selling today in the mobile space, AdMob, for example, sells for $750 million or something like that. You look at MySpace. So in my last company, my partner was the co-founder of MySpace, okay? And this is the example he gave me. So MySpace sold for $400 million, right? Amazing number. And if you look at the overall revenue impact, so Intermix, which created MySpace, was doing $100 million a year, pretty impressive, of which MySpace was $5 million of that. What they did was, since they realized that social networks were coming up and MySpace was the first one, They threw away $95 million worth of business. They basically shut that down, all for MySpace. So, you know, a lot of it is just hype. A lot of it's just like, are you on this big train that's moving very quickly? Mobile companies are being snapped up right now because most people believe that we're going to be looking at ads on our cell phones and our iPads. So there's a huge war in mobile right now. You know, like you wonder, you know, will Twitter get snapped up? Dig.com. I mean, you know, who will Facebook buy now? So a lot of it's hype. You know, a lot of it's irrational. Like depending on what the market is. Some of it is rational. So they'll look at your projections. They'll say, okay, I did $5 million this year. I'm projected to do 10 million next year. And so based on that, we'll do some math and we'll give you 3 times forward-looking earnings, and we'll give you 6 times historical earnings, and we'll come up with a price. So it really is a process. Every buyer is different. So I hate to give you just your job is to sell for as much as you possibly can. Like, be brutal about it. Just sell it for as much as you possibly can, and then that's the price. You know what I mean? So, anyone else? Okay. I'm going to give these, well, we're almost ready to go here. So I'm going to keep going with these guys, and I'm going to move over there. So again, hopefully this works the first time. So these are 2 guys. We're back now to media buying. One of them is it's a company called Plenty of Fish. As I spoke to you about, you can Google them, but they're a very, very large dating site. We're going to talk about what makes people successful on Plenty of Fish as advertisers. And then we'll get through that, and then we'll talk to Drew, who, as I've spoken about before, is a fairly prolific media buyer. So, you guys ready to do that? You're all good?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Let's see if this works here. See how good technology is. So I am going to sit over here. Oh yeah, we can.
Probably a picture of their website.
Yes, sure. Let's. See which one is the.
That's what I got wrong before. Yours is the other way around. Is this one? Is that one there? This one's the image.
All right, here. All right, so here's our friends, Plenty of Fish. There's 135 million monthly visitors. They're larger than every other dating site combined on the planet, which is pretty cool. They're very, very big. The reason I like them is that they allow you to do things that Facebook doesn't. So one big technique on Facebook back in the day not too long ago was your ability to call out people's name in the banner ads, and not their name, but their age and the demographics. And that ended up being a really huge thing because you get much, much higher conversion rate. So we're going to call Ben. Ben is the lead sales guy. Plenty of Fish is a very, very small company from a size point of view, but they do a remarkable amount of volume.
Well, you might want to hide the highest number, dude.
Everybody close their eyes. Here, you want to turn it off? Because he might really get mad at me if I. But you guys wouldn't call him, would you? No? He's a good guy. All right, Ben, you better be awake here, buddy. Let's see if he's awake. He's a really good guy. I give him a hard time all the time because I said, so now you're running this dating site, so you're a single guy. You get to see all the profiles, don't you? And he gives me a kind of a smile, and he says, yeah, I know. I get to pick the really cute ones or whatever. All right, let's see if this works, guys. Hold your breath here, and then we'll pop back to the site. All right. 1778. Are you getting sound there? All right. I got it. Yeah. Hopefully this works. Now you want to turn the thing back on?
Hi. This is Ben speaking.
Ben.
Hey.
Big Ben, how are you, buddy?
Good. How are you doing, Scott?
Good, good. It's Scott. I hope, yeah, hopefully you know that.
Yep. No one else is calling at 8 a.m.
That's right, that's right. So, Ben, so we've got about 80 people in the room. These are, new affiliates, seasoned affiliates, all kinds of affiliates, and we've been talking about what an amazing thing Plenty of Fish is for the affiliate marketer. And so you've been nice enough on a Sunday to wake up early, and your girlfriend's mad at you, right?
No, she's sleeping blissfully.
Got it. All right. So you guys are in Vancouver, yeah?
We are, yeah. We're on the west coast of Canada there.
Awesome, awesome. So, well, again, hey, first of all, thank you very much. I think we're all, everyone here we've been cranking away at this stuff for a couple days, and so everyone's excited to hear about Plenty of Fish. Ben, do you want to start by just kind of explaining to people what Plenty of Fish is and why it's so great?
Okay. Well, generally, Plenty of Fish is the world's largest dating website. It's the #1 in the US, the UK, and Canada. #3 in Australia. So we've come to kind of dominate the English-speaking market. We are a dating site. It's 100% free, so our users don't actually pay anything to use our site, which is why we have the most members. In turn, we have a lot of traffic for advertisers to monetize.
That's awesome. And Ben, can you give people a perspective of when you say a lot of traffic? Do you guys share any stats with how big you guys are, so that people get a sense of how much media they can buy with you guys?
Yep. On a monthly basis, the website gets about 2.6 billion impressions.
We got some like comments here in the crowd, like, whoa.
Yeah, it's quite a sizable size. I think the members themselves are up to about 22 million now, if I'm not mistaken. So potentially a lot of people to reach out there with your message.
And can you talk a little bit about the types of advertising creative that you guys allow people to run in terms of like size and what that looks like? Sure.
Well, we generally have two types of ads. The first type of ad, which comes with a minimum $25 deposit, is the 110 by 80 graphics with the text beside them. So very similar to what Facebook offers. This allows you to upload a image that's 110 by 80 in size, and also allows you to type in a headline and some ad text. One of the main advantages of this ad size in particular is that we do allow dynamic variables to be inserted. And basically what that means is we can pull user information from their profile and put it into your ad. And we can do this for someone's state, age, and gender. So what in effect what you can do is create an ad that says, hey, are you from state and aged whatever number it is? And if I was a 26-year-old from New York, your ad to me would appear to say, hey, are you from New York and 26 years old? And that makes your ad a lot more applicable and therefore a lot more relatable to the user. And therefore they're much more likely to click on it as if you just ran a general ad.
That's a really good point, Ben, because as we both follow what's happening with Facebook, Facebook doesn't seem to be as friendly to the affiliate as it did just several years ago. And it seems like this is one of the big differentiators with you guys relative to Facebook, is that you're allowing the advertisers to use much more of the demographic profiling to target their ads much more effectively, yeah?
Right, exactly. We allow you to call out user variables, and in terms of customer service, especially for new affiliates, we're a lot more friendly. Maybe because we're Canadian, who knows, right? But I mean, if you need help, if you have a question, most likely you'll actually be talking to me via email or by phone, whatever way is most comfortable for you. And I'm very good in terms of answering questions by email, usually within the day, usually within the hour, actually, given it's between 9 to 5 when I'm working, right? But just from general feedback from other affiliates, it's one of the most affiliate-friendly websites that you can advertise on.
Yeah, I can definitely concur. I mean, you guys have been the easiest. Now, can you talk about, I know you can't mention specifics in terms of perhaps actual campaigns. We're kind of going through the site now. We're seeing a variety of different offers. But can you talk about, first off, what type of affiliate works really well with you guys? And maybe just the makeup. Are they big? Are they small? The types of ads they focus on?
Okay, sure. Well, the most successful affiliate on our site are going to be the guys who are organized. What I mean is, our deposit is $25 minimum, which is not much at all, relatively speaking. What I like to see is someone use that $25 towards one campaign or one sort of offer, and I like to see them keep themselves organized, and that's usually what leads to success. What I mean by organized is they will take the offer, test that offer on multiple demographics, to see which demographic is more likely to respond to the offer, and after that, test different images and headlines to see which ad achieves the best click-through rate. The most important thing, I think, for newer affiliates is just not to get discouraged if your initial tests don't, pan out the way you want them to. That's pretty normal. Success comes with split testing, and with our targeting capabilities, which is essentially our strength. There's a lot of room to be creative and a lot of room to have fun with it. So, for example, if you had a weight loss campaign, most other platforms will allow you to target the geography, the age, and the gender of the person. So perhaps U.S. female, 30 to 50 years old. What we can do is we can then target them by their income, their smoking habits, their drinking habits, their ethnicity, if they have children, their profession, and most importantly, we can target by body type as well. So instead of doing the U.S. 30 to 50 female, you can now do U.S. 30 to 50 female who has children, so it's a mother, so you can then start putting that into your ad. Right. Who has a heavier body type, so the offer is going to be relevant to the heavier body types, and also who makes a higher income, so that they'll be able to afford the weight loss product. So that you can do on Plenty of Fish.
Now, Ben, when I'm on Plenty of Fish, I notice a lot of weight loss banner ads. Is that a nice way of you calling me fat?
No, not at all.
That was my joke. Okay, that was my joke. Sorry. That was good, right? That was good.
That was good.
Thank you. So can you walk me through, so you've mentioned two big verticals that seem to work well on Plenty of Fish, diet and dating sites. Are those your two biggest verticals now, or what other verticals, advertising verticals, are you seeing that do well on Plenty of Fish? Or are those really a lot of it?
Definitely dating. Dating is a huge vertical on Plenty of Fish. Given the targeting that we offer, there are a lot of niche dating sites out there. We have the general ones such as eharmony.com or match.com or anything like that. Then we have the more niche sites. So something like BBW Meet, which is meant for larger body types. Then there's certain Christian dating sites. Right. Black People Meet. Russian, whatever it is. There's so many niches within dating that work. Also, like you said, weight loss is one as well. And also there's almost some supplemental dating, offers that are out there. So, teaching men how to attract a woman.
I could use that.
Things like that. So, yeah, you could write your own course. But no, anything I think that you can directly target the audience with stands a pretty good chance. And what I mean by that is, don't do anything where you have to go target the person in a roundabout manner. Right. So, for example, if there is a hair loss or a hair restoration campaign, you can't target people who are looking to regrow their hair. Therefore, you probably shouldn't be advertising that. There is the option where hair color equals bald, but I personally think that's bald for style and not bald because they're aging and they can't do anything about it. So,
are you calling me bald?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not trying to offend you at all.
It's unbelievable. I can't believe you're bringing this stuff up now. It's crazy. Just kidding, bro. Just kidding. No, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Again, you can just tell me no on this, and that's fine. But your biggest affiliates, they spending like 4 figures a day, 5 figures a day? I mean, what's the range? I mean, can you talk about your affiliates like that or not really?
Yeah, the top affiliates will spend anywhere between $5,000 to $8,000 a day.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there is there any questions you guys have from the audience that I could ask Ben while he's here? Ben, do you mind taking a couple questions?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay. There's a couple up here. You want to just get it real quick? Sorry, just give us a second, Ben.
Sure.
Here's question number 1. Tell me if you can hear it.
Hi Ben, you all right?
Okay.
Why does the dating offers work so well on your site when you are a dating site?
So the question is,
Can't hear you, bud.
why do dating offers work so well on your dating site?
Well, like I mentioned before, we are the 100% free dating site, so we're usually the first website that people hit, just because we don't charge them anything. So it's a really good opportunity for the advertiser to upsell them to something a little bit more specialized. One of the complaints about Plenty of Fish is that there's pretty much every type of person out there. So if you are from a specific niche and you want to only meet other people from that niche, so for example, like you said, if you're Christian and you're only looking to meet other Christians, it's a good opportunity for the advertiser to then present them with a Christian dating ad, so they can then easily just click the ad and then sign up for whatever micro niche that they are interested in. So it's a very, very good opportunity.
You guys are selling a lot of advertising to other dating sites, and your position is, look,
We are.
it's money to you guys, and you guys are like the entry-level drug into dating, right? It's like free. I
guess you could say that. The only thing that we don't allow, though, is adult dating. So things like Adult Friend Finder or Sling.com or something. The more adult dating we don't allow. We don't allow other 100% free dating sites, just because we don't want to advertise our competition, which I think is quite reasonable.
Right.
And no extramarital sites either. So things like Ashley Madison, because that's pretty much just adults if you're looking to go outside your marriage. So I guess the general rule of thumb is if you were to browse Plenty of Fish at work, none of the ads could get you into hot water.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Was there a few more questions for Ben while we have him? Okay, so some people want to know how it's priced, Ben, CPC, CPM, what that looks like.
Sure. Yeah, so we do run our traffic on CPM, which is cost per 1,000 impressions. It is a bit of an issue for some people, but given our targeting, you're going to be getting a demographic that's going to be of interest. So instead of going through your funds advertising to everybody in the U.S., what you can do now with Plenty of Fish is target very, very, very specific groups of people. Like I said, the geo, the age, gender, the psychosocial demographics, so, drinking habits, smoking habits, people with children.
I would encourage anybody that
other things like that.
wants to be more effective.
So, for
in their
example, if you
business,
have
that
an
this is the real deal.
electronic cigarettes,
This is not some fly.
you can target smokers specifically, right?
Sorry, Ben.
So, the CPM does work in a very targeted manner.
Right. Yeah, I imagine, we talked about the rise in click-through rates as a result of the targeting you can do now with sites like yours and Facebook, and I think it makes sense that, the extent possible, affiliates that are able to leverage every data point possible in what you offer them, they just get higher response rates, and as a result, you guys are able to charge higher CPMs because people are clicking more and responding. So it's a testament to your ability to charge CPM is predicated on the idea that you're sharing a lot with the advertiser, yeah?
Exactly. I think we are one of the only publishers out there that provide conversion reports. What that means is if you click on the conversion report link in the ad platform, we offer a tag that you can use. That tag will then fire back information into your account to tell you exactly which demographic is converting best for you. Mm-hmm. For whatever particular campaign. So you can then, in turn, create new campaigns only targeting the profitable demographics. And then it almost eliminates the need to split test in the dark, which is something I know a lot of affiliates don't like. We're basically telling you, A, who's clicking on your ad in terms of demographics, and B, who's actually converting and making you a sale. So in that sense, we're very open with our information with you.
Right. Yeah, it's actually a great point. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Was there any more questions? I know I'm taking Ben away from his Sunday. There's a few more here, Ben. Just 1 second.
Sorry.
Okay. No.
Hi, Ben. Can you tell me what BizOps vertical works like on Plenty of Fish, and what other verticals work particularly well?
Okay, so they want to know if there's any other verticals. It's funny, as you're talking here, I clicked on a BizOp offer that I saw on Plenty of Fish,
Yep.
which was awesome. Went right to a video landing page, which an autoplay. I'm looking at one now for us. Actually, something that we talked about in the seminar called Animoto, which is a video slideshow thing. But can you talk about, other than dating and weight loss, what would you say it's third to fifth in terms of verticals that are working on Plenty of Fish?
Okay. Well, with business opportunities, with the ability to target people who make a certain income or their profession, or you can target the entrepreneur or whatever it is. We've seen some BizOps. We've seen some kind of lead gens for I guess job sites, because we can target people who are unemployed and or students. What else? I've seen a lot of the e-cigs, like I mentioned, because we can target smokers. So any of the health-related stuff, because we can target, the smoking, the body type, and the drinking habit. We've seen a few of that float around.
Got it. So health and nutrition products, BizOp because they're unemployed or they're students. That makes sense. Okay. We have time for one more question for Ben, and he needs to get back to. Do you ever go to Granville Island, Ben?
Yeah, I do.
That place is awesome, man. I was there last week.
It is. Highly recommend that all you guys visit Vancouver and go to Granville Island.
Yeah.
Beautiful place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Ben. Good morning, first of all. Welcome from London. Just want to find out what the personal development sector is like in with your site. And the next question is then, are you interested in JVs? Did you get the question, Ben?
I couldn't know.
Okay, so the first question was, again, back to the types of offers that are working on Plenty of Fish. Do you see much in the personal development, space? Are there advertisers in the personal development space that you're seeing on there? How would you rank that in terms of your top 5 advertisers? Or would you?
What do you mean, like personal? Just how to improve certain aspects of their personality, or equip themselves with skills type of offers?
Are there any big name personal development people?
Are there big name personal development? The fact that you don't know tells me that there probably isn't, or that it's confusing. It doesn't sound like there's really any in that niche, right?
Not too much, because we can't target someone who's looking to develop their personality more. The only thing I can think of is the how to attract women type of offer, where you can develop your skills to get more dates or to make yourself more attractive.
Ben, you and me. Maybe
sure.
You can cut me a deal.
In terms of personal development, it's not too big on Plenty of Fish, just because I don't think you can target directly the person who's looking for that type of product.
Right.
Which is why we don't see it being too prevalent, unfortunately.
And the second question, and it may throw you a bit because this is more of an IM crowd, but they asked whether you do JVs, and I'm going to assume that what he's asking is, do you do CPA offers? Is that what you're asking?
Not so much. No, JV, an idea that I have for something else.
In
relation to a dating site.
Okay, got it. So I'll funnel that through me, and I can give it to Ben directly. Hey Ben, you're an absolute champ, man. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No worries.
I gotta be honest, you guys. These guys pick up so much more business because you can actually talk to someone live over there. They actually give you information. They want you to succeed. It's a whole different world than begging a JV partner to make an email drop for you, or hoping that Google doesn't shut down your account one day. So Ben, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it, man.
No worries at all. And again,
All right, Ben. I'm gonna say goodbye, sir.
Sure. Do they all have my email in case they have any further questions, or are they just going to go through you and I'll just answer them that way?
Yeah, we can do it that way. That would be fine.
Sure.
Whatever you feel most comfortable with.
Okay. Why don't I just give everybody my email then, if that's okay?
Yeah. Fire away, man. You got pens or writing here.
Okay. So my email is ben@poffish.com. POF.com. So that's BEN at POF.com. Probably won't look at them until tomorrow, but if you do have any questions, let me know, and I'll be able to answer them for you.
All right. All right, buddy, you rule, man. Thanks again. Have a great Sunday, my friend.
All right. Take care.
care.
Cheers.
Was that cool? Is that good? See, okay, so you guys are getting my style, right? And, you know, like, I joke a little bit. But, look, life's short. And when you talk to a guy like this with Ben, my style is to interject all kinds of personal things. I'm making jokes. And, you know, like, look, business can be tough, and we're kind of working away. But I develop personal relationships with these guys. And as a result, they tell me things they're not going to tell somebody else that treats them like a jerk. You know what I mean? And that's just basic human nature. So I've credited most of the success in my career with just like, actually, I like this guy. He's a good guy. You know, like and by virtue of that, he'll tell you a lot of information that he's not going to tell you somebody that's, you know, kind of a jerk. So, all right, you guys ready for Uber affiliate? Yeah. Ugh, this guy's pretty scary. All right, let's see what we can do here. We're going to call him at home here. Drew. Okay, guys, ready for him?
This is Drew.
Yo, Big Drew in the house.
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
What's going on, my friend?
I'm just sitting here waiting for your call.
Drew, I have got 80 of my new best friends here in London.
Hello, London.
They want to know, first of all, if you like Arsenal or Manchester United. And be careful how you answer this one. Or Chelsea. Or if you ever heard of it. What is it?
I better not answer.
Hey, awesome, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for getting up early, and hopefully you've had your Starbucks and taken the time to talk with us today. It's awesome, man.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
So, can you walk me through, or these guys through, just your history a little bit? You know, you're a guy that I admire a lot, and you've kind of walked a lot of the same roads I've walked over the last 10 years, and you've been a prolific affiliate marketer, you've been a prolific media buyer. But can you just kind of walk people a bit through your background, kind of like, you know, how you got started and where you got to today?
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to go way back, I studied direct marketing in graduate school and was very interested in online, the online world as it was just forming. And I actually spent a summer working at Prodigy, the online service, when I was in graduate school, which back then was the internet. This was 1991, and that was the early days of advertising and direct response online. I eventually, several years later, got into the sales side of online advertising. Was the director of sales for a big technology company, a technology website that's my team sold about $25 million a year in advertising. Unfortunately, we were losing money, and in the end, they kiboshed the IPO and all that kind of stuff. But and then eventually, because of my experience selling advertising, happened to be friends with a guy named Eben Pagan, who a lot of people may know, who's one of the smartest and best internet marketers I know, and a very successful guy, and ended up helping, not only starting a business with him, but also helping him grow his double your dating empire. And on the buying media side, because since I'd sold it for so long, I knew how to buy it, and we built his company up to $20 million plus a year. And then I got into the affiliate world and started realizing that I could not only buy media for other people and promote other people's stuff and my own stuff, but pretty much you can promote anything if you know how to buy media. And became very successful as an affiliate, and And today I've kind of come around full circle, and it's acting more like an ad agency and buying media for clients, and still do some affiliate stuff as well. But that's what I live every day, is basically buying traffic and brokering traffic and doing deals, and it's my my favorite thing to do. And if I can offer any advice for your 80 people there, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, I'd say you're pretty good at what you do, man. So hey, so a question I have, and I don't mean it to be as esoteric, but you've been doing this a while, as have I, and I talk about like what makes a successful affiliate, right? There's a lot of people that get into this game and don't ever get it or fail, but there's always that guy that figures stuff out. If you could kind of characterize the profile of a successful affiliate, how would you do that? Like, what differentiates the guys that make
it's very simple. There are a couple things in my mind that differentiate people who succeed and people who fail. People who fail tend to be people who try one thing, try it once, they lose some money, and say, oh, it doesn't work, and they give up. So persistence is a trait, obviously, of successful people. But the other thing I think is that a philosophy I live by is something that Jack Welch, who's the former CEO of GE, said, is if you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete. And I think too many people try to go into very competitive markets with no competitive advantage. They grab an offer off a CPA network that 1,000 other affiliates are promoting. They promote it in the exact same place. They don't do anything different, and they don't have a higher payout. They don't have any leverage of any kind, and they fail. If you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete. Now, how do you get a competitive advantage? You can get it either by having a higher payout, by having negotiating a higher payout, by having some kind of technology advantage, by dominating one particular distribution channel that you know better than anyone else. So maybe it's not Google, maybe it's a different ad network like AdSonar or AdBlade or something that is not as popular. Using some kind of different way of marketing. I know you, Scott, even have talked about a friend of yours who does a lot of day parting, which most people have probably never even spent any time testing.
Right.
Is what time of day you're advertising can give you a competitive advantage. So, that's what I would, what I really would focus on, is trying to find out how you can gain a competitive advantage so that you can win, not just jumping into a sea of very competitive world with a lot of very experienced marketers. It's going to be very hard to succeed if you're just on an even playing field. So I don't even bother competing unless I've got some kind of leverage or competitive advantage. And I think that alone will help, save a lot of money testing. And then the third thing is, it really is all about testing. If you don't, everyone will fail, and I continue to fail all the time. So if you expect to win every time, don't bother. But if you're willing to understand that it takes a few failures to get to your successes, and what I love about media buying and internet marketing is that you can test very small, and you can tell pretty easily whether it's going to be, whether there's potential to succeed with very low risk. So the way I look at it is almost like a stock portfolio. If I was going to test 10 offers, or trying to figure out how to find an offer that works, I can spend $500 or less typically and figure out whether it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, I cut it off. I quit and I say move on to the next one. So let's just say I try 10 offers in a row and they all fail. $500, $500, $500, and typically you don't lose $500. You spend $500, maybe you make $300, and you go, okay, it was a failure, but you only lost $200. But anyway, let's just assume I lost all the money. If I'd lost 10 in a row and I lost $5,000, but then the 11th one is a winner, and it makes $10,000 the first month, and then $10,000 on autopilot every month after that. The one winner pays for all previous 10 losers. So you drop the winner into the winner's bucket, and you spend some time optimizing and improving it. Maybe you go to 15 or 20 grand a month, and then you just do it over again, and you just keep trying to find the winners, which, because the upside of the winners is so much bigger than the downside of the losers, that, you just want to fail as fast as you can, lose as little money as you can, and move on to the winners, and try to build as many winners in that winning portfolio as you can. And it's a simple formula in my mind. So, and it's so many people who I've seen fail have just, they only tried one of those and they failed. If you give up after one, you're going to fail. You have to see it more like an investment portfolio and say, I got to test the waters and spread my wings. And then finally, though, if you're just failing and failing and failing, maybe you're doing something wrong. It's the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result. So if what you're trying is not working, then maybe try a different technique, a different approach. And that's sort of my... Yeah.
No, it's awesome stuff, man. I think it's spot on to what I've been talking to people about, and I couldn't have said it any better, so I won't try. What are you working on now? I mean, you've obviously done a lot. You started with Eben. You've been doing a lot of affiliate offers. Now I think you're doing some different things. Talk about what you're doing now and what gets you excited every day.
Well, one other lesson I would say to your audience is whatever you're doing, if it's working, keep it a secret. Don't share it with anyone. Don't tell anyone what you're doing, because it's very easy to knock off things on the internet and copy. And as great as a marketer as you think you are, sometimes the competitive advantage is just having a little offer that no one knows about in a niche that's not as popular. So I typically don't share what I'm doing and what industries I'm in, and I recommend you do the same, because people are the second they hear something's working, we're going to jump on it and tell all their friends, and next thing you know, you've crowded your advantage out, and there goes your advantage. So, but basically, I work I typically personally like to work with private offers rather than grabbing things from the big networks. I try to meet people who have successful businesses and are not. They have affiliate programs, but they're not. There's not 1,000 affiliates promoting it. There may be a couple or none, and I become the first or one of several. And it's very easy to dominate markets like that when you don't have a lot of competition. So that's a competitive advantage in and of itself. And I meet people at conferences like the one you're at, and often find people just in the hallways who have interesting businesses that are not on CPA networks, and so that's a great way to find partners and businesses and to promote that are probably more likely to succeed than just pulling something off the very competitive networks.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We probably have a couple questions for you. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but is there anyone that has any questions while we've got Drew on the phone? Or I think Drew, you were that good. They're just amazed here.
They're dumbfounded.
That your content was so good. Look, I won't take much more of your time. Thank you very, very much for taking the time. I think you've shared with people some amazing stuff. You're obviously a guy that I respect a lot. You've been doing some cool stuff over the years, and so you're in Los Angeles now. So what's your Sunday look like today?
Oh, I got a big day planned with the family and all kinds of stuff going on. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I wish you lots of success, and happy to answer any questions in the future. If anyone wants to email me or call me, or I'm at your service, Scott.
Yeah, all right. I'll meter your email and stuff, and I'll forward along to you some of the good questions. But again, I appreciate the time, and have an awesome Sunday, my friend.
You too.
All right. See you, Drew.
Ciao. Bye.
Okay, that was Drew. So, Drew Kossoff. Yeah. So look, I mean, I think, in large part, I've made a lot of really amazing friends over the years. And as you can see, I don't know if it's a different culture we have in the States, or maybe it's not, but we give away everything. I mean, our belief is that we can add a ton of value just by giving away free stuff. So you can see that my collection of friends truly are interested in you succeeding. They're willing to share with you as much information as they can. It's a really interesting thing, the online marketing space. It's not, we're very open with our ideas, with our thoughts, because really it's a meritocracy of how hard you work and how you can implement those ideas. So we're very free with telling you all the secrets we can give you. And you can see that, I think that helping you guys down the road, being that concierge, if you will, might be some benefit to your business, whether you're a product person that wants to figure out how to get to high volume, whether you're an affiliate that wants to learn this stuff. So I hope those 2 calls were interesting. I could probably line it up with 10 new calls down the road. It's in part what we're going to give to you guys in the ongoing webinar series. Is I want to introduce people like this to you, and hopefully, again, oftentimes Drew talked about the idea that sometimes all you need is that price increase on an offer that makes a world of difference. It's just This is a game of inches. It's not a game of yard. We can teach you the yard piece of it, but oftentimes it's a little tip or technique that you're going to do differently that makes these things blow up. So, you know, again, we're hopeful that we can share those with you over time, and you know, one little idea, one simple idea might radically change your future, right? Radically change your audience. So, so that's the idea with that. Did you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, guys, first of all, Scott has spent a whole day, this is a guy who's built businesses over $100 million. He's spent a whole day breaking down all of his secrets. So I think this guy needs some serious appreciation, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was incredible, even for me and Trishan and Ray and everybody at the back just sitting there. It was incredible for me even to experience the whole day with him. And I'm sure you guys, you know, you can see the power of all of this. We're going to break in a bit, but I just had a couple of questions on the last break about the mentorship program. People had a few questions about that. Everybody really feels that they need to join this, and they just want a few questions that need to be answered. So I'm just going to talk about that again very briefly before we go on to the next break. Then we're going to come back, cover a few things, and then we're done. Okay? So first of all, Scott, you can maybe help me answer some of these questions. Somebody didn't get this because they couldn't read my terrible handwriting, so I'm just going to cover it again for those guys. First of all, very quickly, some people were out and they came late as well. Just to let you know what we offered on the mentorship program. First of all, we understand that yesterday, you know, we covered a lot of quick fire techniques that can make you your first $200, $500, $1,000 a month, $2,000, whatever, right? That's what the quick fire blueprints are for. However, what Scott has taught you today and what he shared with you is where the real business is, right? This is where you go from somebody who's making $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, up to $100,000, etc., etc. I mean, you saw the kind of guys that are on the call, right? These are the kind of people Scott has personal access to. And what are they telling you? You know, this affiliate, is he the one that started off with $100, Scott?
No, this is a different guy.
Okay, but
I'll bring him on the next call. This young guy.
Dude, think about this. There's somebody who started off with $100 to the point of how much is he making? $100 guy now?
It's hit or miss, but I think at his height, you can get a sense. He was doing about 8,000 sales a day. He was getting paid $40 each, so that's what, $320,000 a day. Now his costs were, you know, that was his cost. His revenue, you know, his revenue was a bit higher, so he was probably clearing $50,000 to $100,000 a day.
So seriously, just think about this for a minute, right? This is real life. This is not fantasy. This is not hype on a sales letter or anything like that. This is real life. Somebody started from $100 ad budget a day, okay, to the point where he's making 300 grand a day. Like, this is literally what you can have access to when you take action and you follow proven mentors, right? And you know, this whole package basically is all the technical stuff that we gave you yesterday. I see that it's difficult and it's quite technical and it can be quite of a, you know, brain freeze for somebody who's new to this. So we're going to do it all for you. Okay, so that was the first part of this package. You get your personal squeeze page with video and autoresponder series. You get your 10 YouTube campaigns set up in whatever niche you want. You get your automated website with automated content. And the whole point of this is not to build you a huge six-figure business. The whole point of this is to start getting you that initial cash coming in. So you've got that money, you've made your first buck online, you've made your first $100, $200 or whatever, and you feel comfortable, right? Because when you do make that first commission sale, when you do make that first sale on ClickBank, on your CPA network or whatever it is, I can't express to you how powerful that is and what it will do for you, you know? I spoke to a lady over there, Hannah, who she came and spoke to me earlier. She was at the free seminar and she made $126 with one of the techniques, and she's completely pumped now. You know? Like, she said to me, she said a lot of things to me, I can't remember everything, right? But she said to me, Saj, you know, I didn't know if these things, this is a real person in the room, by the way, you can speak to her. She said to me, Saj, you know, I didn't know if these things work, whatever, I was demotivated, but when I made that money, it's completely changed my whole perception. So all of this So you don't have to bother about all the technical stuff. We'll do it all for you, so you can make that first commission sale, that first ClickBank sale, that first bit of money that can give you the confidence to show you that this stuff is very real. And once you take action, we're going to take you to the next level, okay? So you've got your quarterly webinars. Every 3 months, me and Scott are going to jump on a webinar with you, and we're going to reveal to you all the latest techniques in the industry, what's really working right now, what's really hot right now, because this industry is constantly evolving and changing. And really, you want to, by now, you can really tell that you have to be in top of the game to succeed with this, right? So every few months, we're going to give you all the latest content, all the latest strategies, techniques, to keep you ahead of everybody else. You're already ahead of everybody else by being here, with the techniques that you've learned, with the information that you've got. 100% you're ahead of everybody else out there who's trying to do this. But this is to make sure that you stay ahead and that you work with us closely. And we're giving you, we're right on the inside on all of this stuff, guys. You see the kind of people Scott has access to, the kind of people he's got phone calls with. So you're going to stay ahead of everybody else with the latest information. Then we've got your quarterly mentoring calls, because for those of you guys that missed it, I was explaining to most of these guys earlier how when you go away, most of you are going to get sucked into your old ways. You're going to get sucked into your problems, your family, your bills, or whatever. Everybody's got issues, right? And the world is very powerful out there. So you're in a certain environment here. As soon as you go back, even though you've got all of these fantastic blueprints that have made us all of this money, the reality of it is if you don't follow up with this, you're going to get sucked into your old way of life, and you're probably never going to use this stuff, which would be from my eyes, that would be a complete disaster. And I don't want to see that for anybody here. I don't want to see that for any of my mentoring students or anybody, because what was the point? You ask yourself, what was the point you spending £1,000 or however much you spend to come to this 2-day weekend, wasting 2 days of your life if you're not serious about this now, and if you're not going to go and take action right now? What's the point? Why are you here for? Have you just come because you've got nothing better to do? Literally ask yourself that question. Why did you come here for? Why did you spend that money? You came here because you want to be serious about this business and you want to make money. So the quarterly mentoring calls every 3 months, along with the webinar, me and Scott are going to each have so you're going to have 1 hour with me, you're going to have 1 hour with Scott. And that is to basically answer all of your questions, find out what you want to do. The first one's going to be about just finding out exactly what you want to do. And me personally, Scott, he's probably got a different game plan, I don't know. We've got an advantage there. We can work with me and him. Personally, me, the way I work is I'm going to find out exactly what you want to do. What do you know? Where is your experience level at? How much cash do you have? All of that. I'm going to ask you everything. And then I'm going to try my best to create an action plan for you, okay? Saying, okay, 3 months later, we're going to have another call. By the next session, X, Y, Z, I want you to do all of that, okay? And if you have done all of that and you do take action, then basically we'll move on to the next stage and the next stage. You're going to get this for a whole year, guys. So what I was saying to these guys earlier, for those of you guys that missed it, if you work with me and Scott for a year, personally, one-to-one, and you don't make any money, then seriously, I was joking, but it's real, because I went out earlier. There's a job in McDonald's down the road. They've got a big sign. That's where you should be, seriously. Yeah. So you're in this room right now. You've got an opportunity to be mentored by me and Scott for a year. Okay, that's a very long time. Most people do one mentoring call here and there. You've got 1 year of mentoring, personal, one-to-one. Okay. Every 3 months, we're going to check up on you. We're going to find out how you're doing. We're going to give you an action plan. Make sure that you've actioned it, And that, to be honest, is worth just a huge amount of cash. Forget the cash, in terms of what it can do for your life and your income, and then all of those dreams that you guys have of relaxing on the beach, making money on the beach, going on holiday, looking after your family. All of those dreams can be fulfilled with just that one thing. Okay, so this is probably the main component of all of this, is that mentoring session with me and Scott. Then we've got the concierge. You just saw an example of the concierge right now. Two big guys. Me and Ree used to speak about a year back, and before I knew Scott, about Plenty of Fish. Rian's really good with all the researching things on the internet. I'm a bit more lazy with that, but he's really good at that. And he's like, Saj, there's Plenty of Fish. They're killing it, man. All of these ads. He went and researched the owners, all of that. And he was like, man, I'd really like to know what those guys are doing. Now you've got a call through him directly with the guy. So this is part of the CPA concierge. Anything that Scott can do to help you get into a CPA network, answer that one piece of missing information that's blocking you from getting to where you want to get to, that will really help you to move past that, okay? And then we've got your social media profile set up, Facebook, Twitter, etc., etc. So all of that for $1,997. That's what the package consists of, guys. I really urge you to go and take action right now. We're going to come back, we're going to call it a day, and after that, we're not doing this anymore, okay? We're never going to offer this again. This whole event, like I said to you, the purpose of this was for a product launch that we're doing, okay? So once this event is done, it's done, you know? I'm busy, Scott's busy, we're not going to do this again. So if you're here and you've made the commitment to be here now, make the commitment to take action and go to the next level, because it's really for your benefit. It makes no difference to me and him. $2,000, what the heck, you know? But if I can build you into a success, into one of these monster affiliates, I'm pretty sure you're going to give me a testimonial. I'm pretty sure you're going to recommend others, and I'm pretty sure, you know, I'm gonna get a lot back from that. So take action, guys. The forms are still there. You can pass them along. We've got a 15 or 20 minutes, Shashank? 15-minute break. Then we're going to come back, cover a few more things, and then it's a wrap. So I'll see you at the next session. Take care.
Thank you.